So, Derek Chauvin is now facing third-degree murder in the killing of George Floyd. In this video, I am not going to give any of my personal opinions on thoughts on the whole situation. I'm just going to be reading this article from the New York Times. The whole article, actually, so you guys don't have to. I'm going to do it for you. You're welcome. And it says, the judge overseeing the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with killing George Floyd, has allowed prosecutors to add an additional charge of third-degree murder against Mr. Chauvin, who is already facing a more serious count of second-degree murder. The decision on Thursday most likely ended a sequence of legal wrangling and cleared the way for the trial to move forward. Jury selection is well underway, with 6 of 12 jurors already seated, and opening arguments are scheduled to begin on March 29th. The jurors will now have an additional murder charge on which they could convict, even if they decide the evidence does not support second-degree murder. Third-degree murder was the first charge Mr. Chauvin faced last year when he was fired by the Minneapolis Police Department and arrested after Mr. Floyd's death on May 25, and prosecutors had sought to reinstate it. Within days of Mr. Chauvin's arrest, he agreed to plead guilty to third-degree murder, the New York Times reported last month. But William P. Barr, then the U.S. Attorney General, stepped in to reject the agreement, which had also included an assurance that Mr. Chauvin would not face federal civil rights charges. Judge Peter A. Cahill, who was overseeing the trial, later dismissed that charge, but he upheld the more severe charge of second-degree murder. If convicted of second-degree murder, Mr. Chauvin would likely face about 11 to 15 years in prison, though the maximum penalty is up to 40 years. The maximum penalty for the added third-degree murder charge is 25 years in prison. Mr. Chauvin also faces a lesser charge of second-degree manslaughter. The Minnesota Court of Appeals last week ordered Mr. Cahill to reconsider whether to add the third-degree murder charge, which has historically been understood to apply to defendants who commit an act that endangers multiple people. But the appeals court broadened the scope of the law in a decision this year and said the charge could be used in cases where only one person was in danger, as it was in the conviction of a Minneapolis police officer, Mohammed Noor, for a fatal shooting. Judge Cahill said in February that he was not bound by that new interpretation because it could still be reviewed by a higher court, but the appeals court disagreed with his analysis. Judge Cahill granted the prosecutor's motion to add the charge after brief arguments on Thursday morning from Eric J. Nelson, who is Mr. Chauvin's lawyer, and Neil Katyal, a former Solicitor General who was helping prosecutors in the case. 2 lawyers for the Floyd family welcomed the decision in a statement. The trial is very painful and the family needs closure. The lawyers Ben Crump and Antonio Romanucci said we're pleased that all judicial avenues are being explored and that the trial will move forward. And Keith Ellison, the Minnesota Attorney General, whose office is prosecuting the case, said the charge reflects the gravity of the allegations. Mr. Chauvin, 44, has been free on bail since October and has been present in court since the trial moved ahead this week, wearing a suit and mask and taking notes on a yellow legal pad as his lawyer and prosecutor interview prospective jurors. So far, the 5 selected jurors include 3 white men, 1 black man, and a woman of color. And yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta say, I don't understand what the significance of adding the skin colors of some of the jurors is, but yeah, I mean, that's just how things are. We'll have to see. But yeah, that was it. That was the whole article from the New York Times, and I guess I'm out. See y'all next time.